back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I appreciate a whole lot. Today I'm going to be showing you how to actually cut a party gown or a dinner gown with a side slit actually, so you could see the picture up there. So I'm just going to show you how to, I'm going to be illustrating it. I'm making use of a pattern paper today, so I'm going to make it so simple that you are not even going to know the difference. I'm going to explain it very well for you. So if you find this video illustration helpful, please, I would appreciate if you hit on the like button to let me know you appreciate what I did. So this dress is really simple and easy, so let's just get started. For those of you that want to register for my online classes, you could see my number scrolling through the screen. Just send me a message on WhatsApp, tell me that you want to register for my online class, and then I would tell you what it entails. If you are new to my channel, if you have not subscribed already, please subscribe, hit on the bell to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So guys, so you could see the picture up. We're going to first of all analyze it before we cut. It's always good for you to understand the picture before you go into it. So you could see this pattern. Why I'm making it into a pattern, don't just say she's making use, I'm using pattern. I want you to watch it, because with this pattern you can actually create out, you can actually use this pattern to create out something else for a different style. So that's just like the beauty of knowing how to draft your patterns, you understand? So once you know how to draft them, you know, okay, this top part is like this top part, you can actually take the top bodice and then fix it into a pencil skirt, and then you make out something else with it. You can also take the down part of this dress and then you fix it into a different top bodice, and then you come out with a different style. So that is why you need to learn how to actually do this. So I've talked a lot, let me just continue. Okay, so the first thing you notice from the pattern, you see the top part of the bodice of this dress, it is actually a tube. So I have loads of tube illustrations on my channel. I've done this over and over again. So today I'm just going to brush through this. Our emphasis is going to be on the skirt part of the dress. So I have my lines here. So in cutting out a tube, what you are going to do, you are going to drop with about 5 inches. You could decide to do 6, depends on how deep you actually want it to be, but this I will do 5 inches. And then the first line I have here is my bust line, which is 10.5, and then the under bust is 13.5, and then I have 16 inches as the under bust, as the waist measurement. That's where the half cut is going to be, and then you add your allowance. And then the next line I'm going to measure on this pattern is the dart measurement. So for the dart, I'm going to be using half of my bust span measurement, which is from one nipple to another, which is 4.5. The full length is actually 9, so I'm going to use 4.5. This is 4.5. I'm going to run that from the top part of this pattern to the down part. So I have the 4.5 all over here, and then I connected with a straight ruler. The next thing, now we're going to draw out the dart legs. In drawing out the dart legs, what you're going to do, I'm going to take 1 inch to the right from the top and another 1 inch to the left, and then I'm going to come to my under bust line. I'm going to take 1 inch to the top and to the right, and then left 1 inch. So now I'm going to connect these lines together like this, and I'll connect this to this bust point and then like this, and then I'll bring it down. So I'm just going to do that right now. Okay, so we're done with our dart. So I'm just going to blend this part now. Okay, so the next measurement we're going to measure out now, we're going to mark out our full body measurement. So in marking out our full body measurement, we're going to mark out our shoulder measurement first. And the shoulder for this dress is actually 15 inches. When you divide into 2, you have 7.5. And then you know this dart lines, I'm going to be cutting off all of this point. So I'll bring it back into the measurement, which is 2 inches. I'm going to put it back. And then from this point, I'm going to mark out my armhole measurement. So for the armhole, I'm going to use 8 inches. So this is 8 inches. So I'm just going to connect it with a straight ruler like this. So that's the armhole part. So I'm going to come back to that. It is a tube, so there's a way I'm going to shape this part out. So the next measurement I'm going to put now is my bust measurement, and the bust is actually 36. So when you divide 36 into 4, you have 8 inches, and then I'm going to add this ½ inch back, and then I'm going to add about 2 inches for my allowance. I'm just going to come like this. I'm just bringing it like this. I'll mark it back. The next measurement is the under bust measurement, which is 30. So you divide 30 into 4, you have 7.5. This is 7.5. And then this 2 inches, you bring it back. And then you add your 2 inches allowance. And then the waist measurement, which is, 32. Add these 2 back, and then your 2 inches allowance. So I'm going to connect these whole lines now with my straight ruler. Okay, so I've connected them together. The next thing we're going to do now, we're going to mark out the. Okay, so for the neckline, I'm going to use 7.5 inches for my neckline. So this is the 7.5 inches to create out the sweetheart neckline first before the illusion neckline. So normally I'm supposed to blend this part now to this point, but because I don't want the top part to be too big, since it is a tube, it's almost like an off shoulder. So I'm going to reduce this point with about 1 inch back. That's this extra 2 inch. I'm going to reduce it. So now the shoulder measurement that I'm using now is 6 inches. So this is where I'm going to blend to now. So I'm just going to take my pattern curve like this. Let's do this. I'm trying to see the one that will give me the right result. Okay. So I'm going to blend it to this point. So from this point now, I'm going to blend it into my armhole area like this. So just to create a curve around here like this. So it's going to come like this. So I hope you got it. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to cut it out before I create out the illusion and pattern. So you see our front pattern. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to create out the illusion neckline. So to create out the illusion neckline, what we are going to work with is just this center piece. That is what we are going to work with. So you are going to determine how big you actually want it to be. That's the cut that you want, how big you actually want it to be. So for this, I'm going to use 1 inch from this top part, which is 2 inches normally, and then I'll come to the bust line also 1 inch. So as I'm getting to the waist line, I'll reduce it to 1/2 inch, and then from this point I'll reduce to about 1/4 inch. But note, what I'm going to do when I'm cutting, I'm not going to cut out the pattern. You can decide not to separate it. You can decide to just leave it, or you could decide to separate it. So it depends on what you want. So I'm just going to cut it out now. So this part, note, this is what you are going to replace with your tool that you are going to place on the center. So I actually did an illustration recently on how to do this. So I think I'm going to drop the link on the description box so you could actually watch how to fix that tool and line it. So I did it on my channel. So now this is going to be like this now. So you're going to replace so I'm going to drop this, and then we'll drop the back pattern. So for the back pattern, I'm just going to use my basic, I'm just going to drop your basic bodice pattern. That's what we are going to do now. So you add your zipper allowance to the back. And then you include the darts now. So I actually forgot that. I'm going to insert my darts now. So I'll come to this down part. I'll measure 1 inch to the right and then 1 inch to the left. So I'm going to blend it to the, I'm putting a regular waist dart, so you can do any dart of your choice. And then you take out your full body measurement. So for the back neckline, I'm just going to leave it straight like this. I'm not cutting out any design for the back. So for the back, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to blend it straight like this with my pattern curve. So I'm not using any particular measurements. I'll just blend like this. So that's that. The back is straight. So I'll cut out my pattern now. Okay, so we're done with our top part, the top part of our bodies. The next thing we're going to work on now is the skirt part. So I'm going to bring out my pattern paper. Okay, so for the front part of our skirt, it is actually an A-line and skirt pattern, which is really easy. So I have I think I have it, not I think, I have lots of tutorial about this, so I'm still going to drop the link on the description box for those of you that actually don't know how to do this. So the first line that I have here is my hip line, and then this is my waistline. So the hip measurement from the difference between your hip line for a skirt is usually between 9 and 10 inches, and then your knee line you could do 2 inches downwards, or sorry, you could do 3 inches downwards. So I'm going to impute my measurement right now. So the waist of my skirt is actually 8 inches, which is 32. You divide into 4, this is 8 inches, which is 32. And then from this point I'm going to add 2 inches or 2.5 inches allowance. I'm going to take out 1 inch for my dart as my dart. So in creating out the dart, I'm just going to come to this point. I'm going to use 4 inches for the dart line. So this is going to be my dart line. So the next line I'm going to impute now is my hip line. So I'm just going to mark like this. I'm using 40 inches for my hip, and then I'll add allowance. So the knee, I'm going to reduce the knee. So the knee is going to be small, because if you see the shape of the skirt, it's not going to be big. So I'm going to reduce the knee measurement as much as 2.5 inches. So I'm going, instead of me to use 8 inches, I'm going to use 7.5. So I'm going to connect these lines together now. Okay, so I'm just going to I did not capture this other part on my camera, so I'm just going to explain it to you now. For the skirt, you are going to use your regular A-line skirt pattern for the front piece. So what you are going to do, you mark out and then you fold. You use the biggest part of the down part to fold if you are not going to be adding any gotlet to the front. So you use the biggest part to fold. So you can decide to fold. For mine, this is a pattern. I actually folded 12 inches, but if I'm transferring to my fabric, I will make it as much as between 15 and 18 inches on my fabric. So the next measurement is you measure out your waistline measurement, and then you measure out your in between. This is between your hip. This is just like a guide for your hip line measurement, which is between 7 and 9 inches. So this is it. And then your knee line measurement. So the knee, you can decide to make it 20, you can decide to make it 21, depends on how tight you actually want it to be. And then the next measurement, you impute your waist measurement, you divide it into 4. You impute your hip line measurement, you divide it into 4. The same line comes here, the same measurement. And then your and then your knee measurement. So for the knee, I reduced my knee with as much as 2 inches. So this is my knee line. And then for the down, like I said I actually use 12. But if you are transferring to the fabric, I'll do as much as 18 inches. So I'll cut out now. So I'm going to impute my dart lines now. So I'm using half inch. So this is for the front pattern. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to mark out the back, which is where the drama is, because the back is going to have a tail. So here's what I'm going to do. It's really simple. I'm going to take my pattern like this. I'm going to place it here at the center. It is really simple. This is just like the easiest way of doing this. You understand? So I've placed my pattern. So you determine how much width you want for the tail. So you will determine how much width you want for the tail. So this is really simple and easy. I'm going to do it really quick and fast. So I'm going to come to the knee point. That is where the drama is. So I have as much as 5 inches here. So I'm just going to mark this point. And then for this point like this, I'm going to mark take 1 inch for my zipper allowance on all of this point like this. So I'll connect with a line with a straight ruler like this, with my straight ruler. This is like very simple and easy. So I'll connect it to this point like this now, to my knee line. So it's from this knee point, that is where the curve is. So from this point, here's what I'm just going to do like this. I'm just going to spread the back like this. So that's for the back, and then I'll cut out the side. So for this back, if you want it really extra long, that's the tail, you can do as much as, this is a pattern, it is like a mini pattern, so I'm using 5 inches. But if I was drafting on my fabric, I'll go as much as 10 inches. Depends on how big I actually want it to be. So I'll cut it out right now. So you see what I have. So this is the back tail. So I'm going to fold this part in now, because I want to try and get out the slit on the front pattern. So I'll fold this. I don't want it to disrupt me. To interrupt rather. I say disrupt. So I folded it in now. The next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to mark out. I'm just going to open the front and the back piece like this to create out, in order for me to create out my curve. So I could use one part. Depends on, I could just keep this and then just use one part of the back piece to actually do this. So you see the back, so you see the tail, for the back. So once I'm done, the down part, I'm going to curve it out. So when I'm transferring on my fabric, I will actually curve it out nicely on my fabric. So I'm not going to do that curve on my pattern paper. Okay, so I'm going to curve out now. So for the side, for my side slit, you are going to determine how deep you actually want your side slit to be. So that is something that you can do by yourself. So this is my knee line point. So I'm going to use, this is my the down part of my hip line. So I'm going to come down a little bit. I will just come down with about 1 inch, and then from this point I'm just going to go in with about 2 inches like this. So I'm going to blend that 2 inches into this part like this. And then you are going to determine how wide you actually want it to be. So I'm just going to maintain this curve like this downwards. So I'm going to cut out the whole of this part right now. So this is what I'm going to have at the end of the day. So I'm just going to lay out all of my patterns now. So like I said, on the fabric, I'll cut out the down part. Okay guys, so at the end of the day, you see what we did. So this is the pattern. So this is the front piece, and then this is the back piece. So thank you so much guys. If you find this illustration helpful, please hit on the like button, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.